of the day is to both inspire and normalize the deep energy retrofit process. One theme that I wanted to make sure you took away today is the importance of the folks that are doing the work at this. You're going to see some enthusiasm. You're going to see some real excitement about what's going on from the people who are actually doing the work. And I think it's really important to emphasize the need to make sure we get as many people trained in these type of activities as possible.
It's critical for us to address existing buildings in affordable housing. 80% of the buildings that will exist in 2050 in Massachusetts are here already and need interventions to improve their efficiency, performance, durability, comfort, and livability. Climate-focused retrofits like the one here at Hano Homes allow us to build on the financial and the carbon investments that we have already made in our affordable housing properties to make them more sustainable and resilient.
When we think about the emissions associated with buildings, we're really thinking about it in two different ways. The first is operating carbon. So what are the energy sources that are powering the buildings? So we think about the heating, cooling, ventilation, electricity. What are the energy sources and the emissions tied to that? And then for this project, operating emissions is obviously a key objective. You'll learn at the mechanical station that all of these systems are going to be all electric, and they're putting solar panels on the roof to ensure that that is renewable energy that's sourcing that electricity. But there's also a lot of cool embodied carbon features about this project. So embodied carbon refers to all of the materials and components relating to a building. So thinking about the materials, how they're sourced, how they're manufactured in terms of the products, how do those products get here, and then further down the line, what does their kind of end of life look like. So the two together make up the carbon footprint of a building.
What we really want to point out and try to, again, normalize is these decisions on building materials matter. So when you're talking about a project that is realizing over 70% energy savings, we want that project to realize those operating carbon savings as quickly as possible. So if you think about that one-time investment of the embodied carbon of all the materials that are needed to be able to realize those operating carbon savings, we want to keep those as low as possible. Wood bio-based materials have in their life cycle absorbed carbon from the atmosphere. And so when you interrupt the natural carbon cycle and transform that material into a building material, it holds that carbon in the materials. So instead of letting it burn, decay, or go into some other sort of waste where that carbon's emitted back in the atmosphere, we're just holding it in the insulation.
We were originally going to move furniture into the center of the units and work around it in that 2-week period that we would have the tenant out. We changed our minds and we decided to store the furniture at another site, another ABCD site, in a secure location, so the construction team can move in a faster, more efficient manner. These changes have allowed HACON to run through these units, install the HVAC, heating cooling system, and the ductwork associated with that. Then we got the residents back in a 2-week process.
And so rather than, jumping around all their stuff, risking damaging or breaking their things, now the construction team doesn't have to worry about it. We're able to move faster. Tenants come back, they have a brand new, sort of fresh apartment, and everyone's happy.
Envelope, this thick warm coat with triple pane windows, super airtight, really well insulated building, radically reduces the way we think about the mechanical systems, and frankly, he'll talk about this, the way we think about solar.
We have 10 years, we'll start with that, so 10 years of the state incentive, which is called SMART in Massachusetts. And one of the things we're going to be able to do is take advantage of essentially next year's state incentive, which is being updated from what it is today and last year to effectively double the incentive rate, which is significant for a project like this. So that's 10 years of monthly checks or direct deposit from the utility to help ongoing operating expenses for the building, in addition to the avoided utility cost of that nearly 70,000 kilowatt hours of electricity.
Before we did this, the way the building breathed was actually through the walls. Like it literally just leaked air out. Now you have to give it a lung, and that lung is an ERV, an energy recovery ventilator, which is essentially taking the air that's inside the building that you've already warmed up and you're about to exhaust outside, but you're going to capture the heat before you kick it outside to warm up the cold, fresh air that's coming in. So it's an energy recovery lung. As I said out there, you've heated up the air inside your apartment. Why would you dump the air out from your kitchen or from your bathroom before you stole that heat back? That's all this thing does. This just captures that heat before it sends it out. So it's the most difficult part of this project. Just notice, right? Look at all the ductwork. And yet, it's not that big of a deal. 4-inch ductwork, 6-inch ductwork. It's everyday stuff. But the supply and the exhaust air that comes to this unit from the outside, you can see those ports on the outside, but you can't see the ductwork going up to the units. The ductwork going up to the units go inside like closets, like in a wall inside a closet. And it's amazing that we were able to, in a week, 2 weeks, get the ventilation ductworks up there and supply and exhaust the entire apartment. No time.
These are European triple glazed passive house certified windows. Third layer of glass and additional layer of gas in between creates a larger barrier for the thermal, and it also reduces noise from the exterior significantly.
This is a wood fiber insulation. What that means is it's compressed sawdust. It's basically a byproduct of the logging and the paper industry. So there really, technically, it really isn't a raw material because it's all a byproduct of other industries that makes this up. By the time it gets to site, it's already carbon neutral because of all the carbon sequestering the wood. It's been really fantastic to work with. The guys doing the install, it's their first time using it. There's almost no learning curve for them. It goes up really fast, really easy. It has a great R value. It's a great sound deadening quality also. The mass pipe right there, we've got a commuter rail right there. This insulation in combination with these windows, when you're inside these units, you almost can't hear that train go by. This train goes by every 30 minutes, and before we did this, inside the unit, you can hear it clear as day. So, dramatic improvement for the life of the tenants. By controlling the air tightness, by adding this amount of insulation, like an R value to the outside of the building, it allows you to reduce the mechanical systems needed to heat and cool these buildings. So there is an additional cost to doing this by having this exterior insulation, and that cost is made up twofold. One, mechanical systems, because they're able to be reduced in size, the upfront cost is much lower than a conventionally built building of this size. Secondly, the operating cost throughout the lifetime of the building is greatly reduced because these systems are so much smaller. So by investing in the envelope first, you're able to save money on the back end of the design, up front and through the life of the building.
Hano and the other projects that we are funding kind of really exemplify what we want to be seeing in the rest of the Commonwealth on addressing the sort of intersection between the affordability crisis and the climate crisis. This idea that working families deserve to live in housing that's not just affordable, but is built to the highest standards of indoor air quality, comfort, and energy performance.